We can go back and talk briefly about that. So the Leno thing, what happened was something happened and Leno called me because I sent a letter. You know, my dad said, send a letter. And so I sent a letter. And then...
to the Tonight Show?
Yeah, to the Tonight Show.
Because you were feeling...
Well, I felt their joke was stolen, you know.
Oh.
Verbatim. It was an evergreen joke, and it wasn't even a version of it. It was verbatim. And I know who did it, and I know who was at the show that night. And then 24 hours later, it's on the Tonight Show verbatim. And I go, okay, that's not cool.
Oh.
So I told my dad about it. He goes, write a letter. I go, no, I'm not going to write a letter, Dad. Nobody writes letters. It's stupid. So I wrote a letter.
Right.
And 2 months later, I got a call from Jay. And as I'm answering the phone, I hear this voice. I'm like, what one of my friends does a really great Jay?
Of course.
And then I realized it was him. And I just said to him, I said, Jay, I've got you on the phone. My job is not to get off this phone until I have a job writing for you.
And then that's when you...
And he goes, all right. Well, I can't do your act. I go, well, you did. He goes, touche. And then... And then he said, you got to be up at the current events. And then he said, like this morning, Oahu, Hawaii lost power to the entire island. What would you do on a joke like this? Now, I'm sitting there going, oh, my God, another gift. Because I was watching the news that morning, and I see him now in his office watching CNN, and the Chiron says exactly what it said at 7 a.m. when I was writing, Oahu, Hawaii lost power to the entire island. Traffic lights were out, court buildings were shut down, and about 100,000 kids stayed home from school today. And that's a three-way buildup. All I have to do is remove the third, and now I have two. Now I have to disrupt the pattern, and but still, so it's infrastructure, court buildings, traffic lights, and then show something else that's heightened in reality, but still deals with losing electricity. So I said, and a vacationing Don King was seen with flat hair. So, and that's when Leno goes, and I said that right on the phone in that moment. He goes, you just thought of that? I go, yeah, I just thought of it. Of course, I had been writing it earlier. A lot of comics back then said, well, that was luck. I said, that was luck? I said, no, well, luck is opportunity meets preparedness. And because I was writing every day, because Gene Parrott said, treat yourself like a professional now, and that means write every day and set it up in your schedule. Write every single day. And I read that Jerry Seinfeld was writing 5 hours a day. So I said, I'm going to write 5 hours a day. And so, and he'd have the calendar with the red X's on every day he writes, and don't break the chain.
Break the chain, exactly.
So I had that calendar up there. I was doing all of that. So, and that's what happened. I mean...
So then he was like, okay, you got the job?
That's
on
it.
The phone.
He said, he started me as a contributing writer. So they sent release forms that day. I signed them, sent them back, and that night I wrote 100 Zachary Taylor jokes. Because it was a big deal. Zachary Taylor, I think, 17th, 18th president of the United States, his body was being exhumed, and they were trying to determine whether or not he was poisoned. And so that was a big deal. And so I wrote a bunch of jokes on that and then faxed them over. Now, what I loved about it was the fax, they still had that thermal paper, that slow.
Oh, yeah.
And I sent 100 jokes on several pages. So that they thought the fax machine was broken. And they got out of all the jokes I submitted, they used one that day, and it was the more mundane of all the jokes I wrote. I thought, that's not even that's like a transition joke. Why would you use that? But it taught me a lesson. On the Tonight Show, they look for middle of the road because you're trying to respond to middle America, not the coasts.
Gotcha.
So the joke was something like, Zachary Taylor, 19th President of the United States, his body was being exhumed. CNN apologized for not being able to give us pictures of the crypt, because there's a centerfold you wouldn't want to miss. Silly joke.
I love you do it in his voice, though, too.
I used to, every time I would do a joke, I would deliver it in his voice just to see if it fit. Did it fit? Does it fit? Does it fit? And so I would do this, do those impressions of him.
And you did that for like 8 years? You wrote for him?
Yeah.
After that?
Yeah.
Wow. So that's crazy. It started out with, I guess you were at a stand-up show, and then like the next day you're like, oh, I did that joke at a show, and then now it's on the Tonight Show. Let me write a letter. Now I have a job at the Tonight Show.
Right. Exactly. So that's it wasn't even that I just wanted to do stand-up, but I wanted to really be a good writer. And the best way to do that is to practice. The best way to practice is current events jokes.
Yeah.
Because current events jokes, you see them you just take headlines and lines in the news and then take a straight line and try to make it funny. Rather, a lot of people make the mistake of going to the weird news, trying to find the weird news that's already funny. And you have nothing to do. You just state what's weird, right? So instead, just taking a straight line and then making it funny. That's the difficult part.
Hey, hot brethren and sistren. Thanks a lot for watching this video. If you love comedy as much as we do here at Hot Breath, click the subscribe button to join the Hot Breathiverse, and then watch more videos to get even more comedy tips. Hot Breath.